behalf of the party, thank you, Ceann Comhairle, for your forbearance, your generosity of spirit and your indulgence of our good selves here and members of the House, and for your fairness at all times throughout the year, and wish you and your family a very well-deserved break, and to all members of the House as well, and to the staff of the House and to Peter Finnegan and his team, and to all the ushers who make life so agreeable to us all. We genuinely thank them, and we thank members of the media as well for their very fair, rigorous scrutiny of Dáil proceedings, and keep us on our toes at all times. And I have to say that we had a very agreeable evening last night with members of the press corps as well on this side of the House. All augurs very well for 2019. So wish everybody concerned a very happy Christmas and a good break over the holidays. Having said that, Taoiseach, and wishing you a happy Christmas, that's the end of the pleasantries. Could I put it to you, Taoiseach, that it's with some regret that I have to state that you're treating the House and the Dáil in a very shabby and dismissive manner when it comes to Brexit preparedness. It's quite simply not good enough what has happened this week and in the weeks prior to this. You have acknowledged that potentially up to 45 pieces of legislation could be required in the event of a hard Brexit, some statutory instruments, some regulation and some primary legislation. Deputy Howlin yesterday asked, I think, a reasonable question on the order of business. When would comprehensive briefing be provided to the Dáil in relation to this legislative proposition? The reply was basically that you can turn up tomorrow at the Stakeholders Forum if you want to find out more about it. Now, since when did the Stakeholders Forum take precedence over Dáil Éireann in matters of legislation? And indeed, the Taoiseach reiterated this point in his article in the Mail this morning by saying that the Stakeholders Forum, quote, would be the first to know. And again, we had Deputy Lisa Chambers. Lisa Chambers asked a very legitimate question yesterday concerning infrastructure, port facilities at the airports and so forth, as a consequence of Brexit generally. Very precise, reasonable questions, only to be told that the OPW had been in extensive discussions with various government departments, almost everybody, then the dismissive line, it would be premature to release any details. Why? In November the 20th, Deputy Chambers asked a basic question to the Minister for Justice concerning any potential legislative changes arising from Brexit. Now, in fairness to Justice and to the Minister, his reply would have been applauded by Sir Humphrey in that great series, because it was a very comprehensive answer which actually didn't answer anything, and simply said that where's the line here? Yeah, basically more or less saying that it was ongoing, just ongoing analysis, but no revelations. Now, there are only 29 scheduled sitting days, Taoiseach, when we return between then and the 29th of March. Journalists were told last weekend that the Cabinet would be updated in terms of Brexit preparedness. And you yourself, Taoiseach, have said that there will be a package of measures which will be revealed tomorrow. Legislators are welcome to attend the public forum and put up their hands to ask questions on the issue. Now, why isn't the Government willing, Taoiseach, to inform the Dáil in a timely manner about all of this? And surely detailed briefing papers concerning the legislative measures should be published and presented to the House. So the basic questions I have, Taoiseach, will you publish the details regarding legislative requirements in the event of a hard Brexit? Will you publish them today and present them to the House? Will you publish updated budget projections in the event of a hard Brexit today? And will you provide updated and transparent answers in relation to requirements concerning port and airport infrastructure to the House? And will you send papers in relation to all of those 3 points to the leaders of the political parties before the end of this session today?
Taoiseach, please.
Thanks very much, Ceann Comhairle. I just wanted to join you and join the Leader of the Opposition, first of all, in taking this opportunity to wish all of the members of the Dáil and indeed the Seanad a very happy and peaceful Christmas. In particular, I want to thank those who work here, all of the staff here in the Oireachtas, and also members of the press corps, without whom we couldn't do our work. Your professionalism makes it a pleasure for us to come here every week. But I'd also like to spare one moment just to spare a thought for those who are no longer with us, those who passed away in the year gone by, and indeed those who retired. We think of them today. So I hope everyone over the break has an opportunity to spend some time with their families and friends and those dear to them, perhaps rediscover their constituencies. Look forward to doing that myself. And as the new year, of course, always brings new challenges, I look forward to being back here in January and want to wish everyone a very happy Christmas. I think it's reasonable to say, in fact it's absolutely correct to say that Brexit is a major threat for Ireland, a major threat potentially to our economy, and a major threat to our rights and freedoms as citizens, and of course could have major implications for peace and security on our island. In terms of preparing for Brexit, this is a work in progress. It's a work in progress this week. It will still be a work in progress in January. We think it appropriate that we should allow the European Commission to produce its notices today, and the European Commission will do that, because anything we do has to follow on from what's done by the European Commission and from European law. So later today, the European Commission will publish a series of notices regarding plans for a no-deal scenario. This evening, Cabinet will be given a copy of a document on our plans. This evening, Cabinet will be given a document which is our plans, essentially, which follow on from that. And tomorrow there'll be a briefing with Brexit stakeholders and also the opposition parties. And I just briefly spoke to the Taoiseach there, and we have no difficulty organising that in a way that people feel appropriate. We can do the spokespeople first and the stakeholders second, or whatever people feel is appropriate. It's been the case all the way through. The briefings have been available to spokespeople whenever they've asked for them. That won't change now. There will then be further information produced in mid-January. Bear in mind the Commission seminars continue all the way through January, so we'll give further information then in January, as this is a work in progress. Of course, our major and overriding objective is to make sure that we don't end up in a no-deal scenario, and that's why we're continuing to work with our European partners to secure the ratification of the withdrawal agreement, both by the European Parliament and by Westminster. And I understand that a vote will happen in Westminster in perhaps the second or third week of January. So this is a work in progress. This is a dynamic situation, and we're very happy to update spokespeople tomorrow. We will update the stakeholder group as we always do. But like I say, we have to have the Commission documents out today. We'll have a document this evening. We propose to publish that tomorrow, and we're happy to share it, of course, with spokespeople and as well as that with the stakeholders group in the morning. In relation to your question on the budget stands. The budget was written with Brexit in mind. It was written to be Brexit-proofed. We don't have the final end-of-year figures yet for this year, but it may well turn out that we will record a budget surplus this year ahead of schedule, and that will have the knock-on effect of having a slightly larger surplus next year than we projected on budget day. So the budget is balanced. In fact, it might be better than that. It could be in surplus. We've established the rainy day fund, and we've provided in the budget for a 25% increase in spending on infrastructure, including transport, energy, housing, all those areas that would be so important to Brexit, to make sure we're Brexit-proof. So it's not intended that we would need to revisit the budget or introduce a mini-budget or anything like that in 2019.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy Martin.
Taoiseach, this is a parliamentary democracy. I think there are times when you show scant regard for that basic fact. I find it incredible what you have just said. It's work in progress, but the Dáil is the last place to know about it. It seems to me that events have been choreographed to prevent the Dáil having any meaningful debate on Brexit preparedness, particularly in the context of a hard Brexit. I think it's scandalous. It's disgraceful treatment of the Dáil. And I think the paper, the Cabinet's meeting this evening, that paper should be sent to Dáil deputies. I mean, do you have any respect for Parliament at all? Tomorrow is not a parliamentary forum. January, the Dáil won't be sitting. There's talk about emergency legislation required. And you don't even have the basic courtesy to give us a detailed paper on what that might entail. What's the big deal? What's the secrecy? Why the secrecy? Why this attempt? Is it about controlling the message? And talking about the European Commission, and we must be, that's all nonsense, Taoiseach. to the European employees. But so there is.
Taoiseach, you're not involved in.
See,
Taoiseach, you're not involved in leaders' questions.
This is Dáil, through the chair. This is Dáil Éireann.
Any briefing you've looked for, you've got on Brexit.
The Dáil is scheduled to meet to 11 o'clock this evening. There is no reason why this material cannot be given to Dáil deputies before the close of business this evening. It's a matter of basic respect to the House and to the Parliament and to the institutions of our parliamentary democracy. That's what it's about. Stop treating people with disrespect in here, because the Dáil has been fair to the government. The Dáil has been very fair to the government on Brexit. Consistently fair. And it deserves a bit of reciprocal respect now in terms of very basic matters pertaining to Brexit. And it can't always be about just government wanting to control the message.
Taoiseach.
Deputy, this is about sequencing. It's not about secrecy. The European Commission will produce its papers today. We will have a paper this evening. It's a paper I haven't seen yet because it isn't finished yet, precisely because we have to have the European Commission papers first. I hope to get it, or expect to get it, between 5 and 6 today. Once I've read it, once we've shared it with Cabinet, I've no difficulty after that making it available to members of the House tonight. But it isn't ready yet. There isn't secrecy here. There's a sequence at play, and the European Commission has to be allowed to produce its papers. We'll do today. We'll produce ours this evening. And assuming it is actually ready this evening, and I have a chance to read it myself, I have no difficulty, and in fact I'd be very happy for it to be sent to all deputies tonight.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy Pearce.
It really isn't.
Please, deputies. Deputy Pearce.